I talk a lot, and like, you're too noisy. I said, you don't have to be around me.
Friendship may actually go beyond just relating on a
superficial
basis.
There's the adage that says, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
There are some of us who are not very good at regular visit, but because they are friends,
you have to.
In order to maintain that friendship.
The emotional state of the parents is usually directly proportional to the emotional state of the children.
Hello viewers, my name is Amaka Ocheke and we're right here at the living room here on Equa TV International. Today we've decided to discuss something very, very important. In the past, when people get married, they are usually given a little child, male, female, to live with them, and usually that child grows up with the understanding that this is their first child. But now with modernization, it's becoming more and more difficult to have people given to you when you get married to adopt, be your child, be somebody who helps you. So today we'll be talking about living with house helps. And that I know has been a very big problem in many homes. Right here in the studio with me to discuss this very important pressing topic, our usuals, Professor Tessie Madu.
Thank you.
Mrs. I.B. Dambo,
Good evening, viewers.
who is set and ready to give us a lot of information about this. So let's start with, first of all, why do we even need house helps? Because I have had a younger colleague whose husband told her she didn't need a house help and refused to let her get a house help. So whenever things got tough, like exam periods and all that, her mom had to come in to help. So why do we need house help? Because as from what I've said, apparently some people don't think you need house helps. So do you really need house helps? And if you do, why?
Maybe I should go first, and then I like the fact that you say when things get tough, her mom would come. Why do things get tough? And let me put it out there. Women would practically need house helps because Nigerians, maybe Africans, do not take an equal share in the amount of work that is done in the house. So a woman, maybe especially if she's a working
Person.
who has a full-time job and who has to also look responsibly after a child, honest, the sheer amount of work is overbearing. I even knew a young mother who had 3 children consecutively, no help. By the time you see her at the end of the day, she's wearied. Because it's no mean thing to care for 3 people by yourself, clean the house, do all of this. People say, but our mothers didn't have house helps. Yeah, our mothers didn't have the standard of living that we had. Their houses were simple, no cement, mud floor, very easy to sweep.
But they even lived communally.
And they lived communally.
People chipped in to help.
So you would need help. I would first say you need help with gadgets before you even need help with people.
Okay, Ivy, what do you think? You need help, or modern women are just being lazy?
Okay, you know, it's funny when you think that you don't need the help in the house, because you know there are several reasons people put out there why they think that they don't need help. But again, like you said, when things get tough, they send for the mother. I think it's because he has a mother or she has a mother to send for, or the mother is maybe young enough to come. If you have an 80-year-old mother, wouldn't it be silly to send for your mother to come and be doing the work in the house for you? You know, so sometimes that's why you really need someone to be at home to help with your house chores. Even if the man joins in the house chores, sometimes you will still need this help because except you don't work outside the house, except all the jobs both of you do it inside the house. If you have to go out to work, you need somebody to help you to do some of these chores in the house. And then, like Auntie put it out there, that you have 3 children. You wake up in the morning at
3
5
children
a.m.
under 10.
Under 10.
Or
We
what's
have what
under
we
5?
call the trouble 3 and trouble 2. You wake up a child and you tell him, go and brush. And then you tell the other one, go and do this. By the time you come back, the one that you told to go and brush has gone back to put blanket over his head or her head. So you'll be running from the kitchen to the room to sort out the children, you know. So all of those things, you know, there's a level of confusion in the house. So we can't be comparing now with, even in the village right now, we can't be comparing what happens in the village setting with what happens in the city. Because in the village, most of these women, they go to work together with their husbands, and the children just play around the house. You don't have to wake the child to give her a bath. You don't have to wake the child to take her to school. The child just wakes up. He doesn't even need to take a bath before he starts going to school. But you can't do that here. You want your child to look neat going to school in the morning. So if you have to fix breakfast, fix the lunch that the child is going to take to school, and also bathe the child and make sure the child is looking neat before they will call you from school and say, we saw something running down your child's head, or, you know, your child's clothes are very dirty and all that. So we really need the help in the house. It's very, very necessary that we take house help.
Okay. All right. It's necessary that we take house helps. Okay. So the challenge many people seem to
Oh,
have.
but let me
Okay.
say it. The house helps thing is not a forever thing.
Of course.
I think as our children grow and they start sharing in chores
And responsibilities.
and
yeah.
responsibilities, the need for helpers becomes
becomes
less
less,
and less.
yeah.
So it's not a forever thing. I think it's particularly in the child rearing years.
Yes.
When they are quite young.
Mhm.
And then if sometimes you now get, because as we get older, sometimes
The
we also
children
get
leave.
additional responsibility.
Mhm.
The children may be growing, but you now have to take care of aging parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would also
And
call
sometimes
for-
the children leave the house, you know. I have 4 children. There's a particular time that 3 of them have gone away to the university. The only small one that is around is in the secondary school. So I'm left alone with my husband, and I go to work, he goes to work. So what happens to the house? The house has to still look nice and look clean. So I still need a help in the house. I don't want to come back around 4 and come and meet dirty dishes, dirty clothes and all that, and start to do all of those chores. No, I need a help in the house.
okay. So we need helps to function
Yes, our life will
the way we should. Okay. So how do we live with our helps in a way that will be honoring to God? Yes, and the way that shows that we're Christians, that honors God. Yes, they are there to help us. But I think while they are there, we also should be of help to them, or better their lives one way or the other.
Yeah.
So how do we, okay, let's start, because how do we live with them is like vague everywhere. Okay, let's start with payments. How do we pay for services rendered? Or how do we reward for services rendered if we don't want to call it payments? Let's start with that.
So I have had 2 sets, and basically they come through referrals. You know, you are sharing your problem and somebody say, I know this person who knows how to contact people who want to place their children, like from the state where I come from, particularly missionaries who are working in very
Remote
oft
places.
areas where their children are not able to go to school, they are willing for their children to be placed as helps, but in Christian homes, so that the children still have a Christian environment and are still able to go to school. In those instances, the financial payment is the sponsoring of the child to a school. And I think sponsoring of a child to school tests our Christian faith. Now that I have somebody who is depending on me to get their child to get an education, will I go and put them in a school where they do not benefit? And we've argued, some people say, if you can't send the child to the quality of school your own child has gone to, don't bring them in. But also the other question is, do they have the background that your own children also had to be able to go to the kind of schools that your children have gone? But I would say, under God, assess these children, make an investment in them that we pay off. So rather than maybe pay a stipend monthly, you are actually investing in their schooling, their clothing, and their character training, so that they can be responsible and be a blessing to their own parents. That's one form. But I've also had, in fact, people of the other faiths who came in, and they came in as referrals, and then they lived with me, and one of them in particular, after that one left, we wondered, isn't she an angel? Because for the entire 1 or 2 years she stayed with us, I hardly raised my voice. She almost knew what was the next thing to do before you said it. And then, let me make you laugh, she even knew my weaknesses. Suppose I borrowed a bow from a neighbor and I didn't return it. When I would have remembered 3 days later, Amina, where is the bow? Mommy, I've returned it. So you do get some that are actually angels, but it means that maybe those ones you pay for the services rendered. And I knew that it was a 1-year contract, and I didn't think that she was going to come. So you would also want to put aside something so that when they are making their final exit, they go with your blessing. Maybe because like the one that was a Muslim, we knew that she was going to go back and marry. So we tried to do a tidy thing for her, so that when she would go back, she would have some wrappers to put in her box. So it can be that. But I think whatever it is, we must see that these people, is God allowing them to cross our paths for a reason. Let me stop there so that I will continue.
I think one of the first things is the place where you get the help from. Where do you go to look for help? Don't just put it out there. Oh, I'm desperate, or I need the help. And anybody or somebody just comes to knock your door, because I've had people like that knocks at your gate and said, I want to walk. Young children, even married women, have knocked at my gate and said they want to be house help. First of all, where do you go to look for house help? I think that as Christians, we should pray about everything. Father, please lead us to a house, a place where we can get someone who will be helpful to us and someone we can be helpful to. That is not to say that you may not get somebody, even after praying, you may not get somebody who will come and cause trouble in the house. You will get, but of course God would have prepared you for it and give you wisdom on how to work with it. So where do you go to seek for help? It's the first thing you need to take care of. And then when the help is here, I think you need to also discuss, like Auntie said, you need to discuss with the family. What exactly do they want? Some persons want to be paid. Some persons want the child to be trained. Some persons want both. I've seen people who ask you that, yeah, we want you to train our child, but we still want you to be giving us a little stipends, Okay, these stipends I'm going to be paying you, who collects it? Is it for the child? Should I save it for the child? Should I give it to you at the end of every month? Because some of the families see their children going to stay with you as an opportunity for them to also get something from you. That's how some families see it. So all of these things need to be discussed, because if you don't discuss them, they throw a child at you, you have accepted the child, maybe you put the child out to training, they told you, no, we just want you to train our child. And then you start hearing stories later that since my child been living with her, even to send me an ordinary 10,000 she cannot send. You know, things like that. So I think that you really need to discuss with the family where the child is coming from.
So people need to all be on the same page.
So that you are on the same page. Now that the child is here, you need to first of all talk with the child. You need to interact with whoever is coming to work for you. I know that another thing is some of us, we don't want help that are children. We want adult help. We want older help, you know. Whatever help it is, sit with the person and discuss. Even if it's a child, discuss with the person.
What the expectations
expectations, what you want in your house, what you can't tolerate, you know, so that when he or she is breaking rules, you can remind the child that, you see, in this house, I had someone who stayed with her, even though she was not a help. I know that it was my children who were even correcting her. When she wants to do children, my children will say, in this house, we don't do things like this. In this house, these things are not tolerated. So that these things are spelled out to her, she knows them, he or she knows them, and, you know, so you'll be on the same page, both with the family of the child and with the child. And then, you know, you can move on from there.
So you have ground rules of how to start. Okay,
yeah.
Just to raise a few issues. If you get a child and you are paying, I think it's against the law, because that's
child labor.
Child labor, all right,
and it's against the law.
Okay.
So how, as Christians, how do we navigate this? Because sometimes you need help, and it's not easy getting people who are 18 years and above.
Yeah.
People are also looking for where to place their children. So how do you balance it so that you are not breaking the law, but you are still able to get what you need and help those that need to be helped?
I think that's why I said, you know, there should be a communication. There should be a talk, and you should be able to say, I can't do this. If this is what you want, I can't take your child. Okay. Because some families actually want you to pay. Yeah. They want you to pay. So for you as a Christian, you know that this thing is wrong. So that when a family tells you, at the end of the month, you now say, no, I can't do this. Because this your child is still a child, and I can't take your child in and be doing this. Yeah, I can support your family if I have, but that will be if I have, not because I'm paying. I'm taking your child to take care of your child, and in response, your child will be able to help me with things in the house, you know, something like that. That's why there should be communication. There should be.
But vis-a-vis the child labor thing, I think there's a reasonable age at which let me say a young adult can come and be of any help to you. If all you want is somebody who will watch a baby, then you will take a child. And sometimes that works differently. I had an opportunity when the help who came to live with us was the age of my girls, and my son was like 10 years younger than her. That person can't do any reasonable housework. All I really needed for her to be was so that we'll share time.
Okay.
So she went to afternoon school, and my children went to morning school.
Okay, so that there's somebody.
So that we just share the time. But I practically did most of the work. But at least while I'm doing the work, somebody is watching a child. So I think we need to have that information. But to bring somebody who is below 18 and expect the person to do the kind of chores that you are hoping that young adult will help you competently with, is to be over expectant.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's to be over expectant.
So we should be clear what our expectations are. We should be sure that whatever we're doing it within the confines of the law. We should be sure that we have had a discussion with the person, with the family, so that everybody's expectation is clear. Nobody is going to feel cheated or feel cheated.
But can I just chip something? You know, when we take a young child or a young adult from whatever background and that person comes, they don't share the same background with us. they don't share the same history with your family. So honest, you need to be a quick study to study this child and learn who they are. Honest, you'll be surprised some of them are petty thieves,
Yeah.
or they have been deprived and they are seeing some things for the first time. So it's actually tempting.
exciting to them.
And
yeah.
then there are some things that children, certain categories of age, are prone to do,
Yeah.
not because they are house
Bad
helps,
children. Yeah.
but they are children, and they
That's
would
what
do
children
that.
do.
If they had a deprived background, honestly, you bring that child and the child will be having a tendency to play,
Yeah.
not concentrating. So I'm thinking that when you bring somebody who has a different background for you, we need to be quick studies. We need to study this child, know what their tendencies are
Yeah.
before we begin to make conclusions or begin to trust them to do more than they can actually do.
So I think that's a very important
Yeah,
point.
so
that
you need to
study
know, who a
and
child
know where the
is,
child is coming
where
from.
the child is coming from, who this child is, because every human being has a personality. So if you are dealing with your own children based on their personality, what makes you think that the child that is coming is going to be a superhuman? She's also a human being, and she also has her own personality that needs to be known. Of course, she wasn't staying with you, so that means, like Auntie said, you have to really understudy her to know who she is and what she can do and what she cannot do. And so it will even guide your expectation of her or him.
For him.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think what we've been saying so far is that our expectations of helps should not be out of this world. We need to remember
Yeah.
that they are human.
Yeah.
They are affected by their temperaments and
Yeah.
their backgrounds and
Yeah.
their upbringing.
Yeah.
And their age.
Yeah, and their
At
age.
their
And
age.
you've raised your children in a particular way. Their parents may not have raised them
Exactly.
in that particular way. But something I said at the beginning was the need to pray. So before you even get a help, pray. When they come, how to deal with them is also part of the prayer point, that the Lord should reveal this child to you so that you understand this person
Yeah.
and know how to walk with the person. So viewers, there are many things to pray about. It's not just our enemy fall and die, which I don't even believe in, but you can see that more prayer points are coming. How getting a house help, how to work with your house help are all prayer points. So right now we're going on break. When we come back, our number will be on the screen so that you could call in to contribute to this conversation while we're going deeper in the conversation. So see you right after the break. Hello viewers, my name is Amaka Ocheke. We anchor the program, The Living Room, right here on Equa TV International.
You are welcome to watch us every Monday.
The Living Room is a very interesting family program where we discuss everything you want to know about family.
Talk about our children mental health.
Keep watching. Our program is always here, 5:30 every Monday. We want you to ask questions. We want you to phone in and drop topics that you want us to talk about, even on our media handle on Facebook. We're there. So keep watching, keep listening. The Living Room. Hello viewers, welcome back from the break. We'll be right here at the Living Room on Equa Television today talking about living with house helps. My name is Amaka Ocheke and I've been here with Professor Teresa Madu and Mrs. I.B. Namo, seriously discussing living with house helps. So if you haven't been with us, please don't touch that dial. Leave it. Watch what we've been talking about. And we've said here that before you get a house help, please pray. ask the Lord to lead you to the right person, the right people who will get you the right person to you, and to give you wisdom on how to live with this person in a way that is right and in a way that will honor the Lord. That's what we've basically talked about. And then before your process starts of living with this house help, you need to talk with the help and with the family so that your expectations are put on the table and we agree on what we need to do. If we will just take care of them, pay their bills, send them to school, or if they want to be paid, or if they want both, so that we agree on what we need to do. And we also raise the issue of not being involved in child labor. So if parents want to send their children to you who are underage and you need to pay to that. So, pressing on, our numbers are right there on the screen, so you could call us to contribute to this conversation. So we'll press on now to talk about how to live with these house helps. But one of the things we've already said is you need to have a conversation with them at the beginning so that you tell them what your expectations are. You explain to them how to run your house, or not how to run your house, what you expect them to do and how things run in your house. So what else do you discuss with them? Back to you. Okay, let's start with Mrs. Namo.
Yeah, I think another thing you need to know is you should not expect that they will never make a mistake. Don't have a help in your house and you think that, okay, because she's a help, she should not make any mistake. So you should be flexible enough, and to not really expecting, but when a mistake happens, to be able to know that this is a mistake and try and help the child to correct the mistake. And if there is a persistent habit, what do? You should find a way to help the child,
or to help the person. If there's a
persistent habit. Sometimes there was one help I had, an adult. I gave a particular rule that I don't want her to, flout, and I discovered that she kept doing it, and sometimes she will even do it in hiding. So I had to call her one day. I sat her down. I said, "Sister, I think we should talk. Me and you will discuss this and this and this. I said I don't want it. Why are you doing it?" And she doesn't know. Sometimes she will finish doing before she will realize she has done it. I said, "From now henceforth, if I see you do it, I will talk to you here and then. I won't wait for it to reach tomorrow again." And I discovered that after the talk, it stopped. So if there's a persistent habit, there's a way it can be corrected. And I don't think because somebody is a help, we should treat them like trash. If you have children in your house and you have help, your children shouldn't treat the help as if they are not human beings, because they are your children. A 4-year-old is talking to an 18-year-old and is talking to the person as if
their mates,
because she's a help in your house. I think that's very wrong. And also, I think another thing we need to do also is to tell our children that these helpers are human beings, and these helpers is just that they didn't have the opportunity that you have, that they have to be where they are. So you need to treat them right. And if you do that with your children and with the help, you are likely to have a good household.
Likely is talking
I
about
use
it.
I use the word
so
likely. I use the word likely. So
okay, I think
we don't,
what you are raising is we should extend grace to them. The way we extend to other people.
Yes.
Extend grace and treat with dignity.
Exactly.
Like any human being.
Exactly.
And insist that your children also treat them with dignity. Not because they are helps, you talk to them anyhow, you are rude to them. Even people that are so much older than the children. The children talk to them anyhow. No. And the children should also understand the privilege they have
that the children don't have.
Yes.
And of course, this help, like one of my aunties will say that she is the one that employed the help. The help are working for her.
Oh, that's what my
children.
parents told us when we were growing up.
The help are working for her, not her children. So her children need to know that these helpers are not working for
my parents
them.
told us that the house help is their own, it's not our own.
Exactly.
So what I wanted to say was do the housewives know that the helper is not a mother? Because
Yeah.
some women abdicate their responsibility because they have
A help.
a help. A helper is not
He's
your
a
cook.
helper.
It's a helper.
He's
It's
a
not your
helper.
cook.
Yes.
You understand? They don't know much better than your children. So I think that the first thing to know is that don't abdicate your responsibility.
Yeah.
You need this person to help you, but also remember that they don't know as much as you. One of the things that helped me cope with those people was that I would ask, if this person knew better, is this what they would be doing? They would not be here if they knew any better. But when I be say, tell your children, I say, no, it's not just tell, it's show. In the same way you treat these helpers,
It's the way your
sometimes
kids.
your
Kids.
children treat the helpers. And children are very sneaky,
Yeah.
including the helper.
Mhm.
And sometimes they can connive too. Sometimes
Yeah, I
can
know they connive.
They
Yes.
can connive.
It's happened to me before. The help will be doing something. They are now either she has something she's holding against them.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So she's using to threaten them, and so they cooperate. They don't tell you anything. They do things they are not supposed to do, and everybody is covering each other because for whatever reason.
Uh-huh. But I think another thing parents do is that because there's a nanny, they abdicate their responsibility, and like Amaka said, the children also abdicate their own responsibility.
Yeah.
So what I was doing was sharing of chores. This is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you do, and everybody had to give an account. If we had holiday times, our nannies also had holiday times when they would go home and spend time with their own family and come back to. So I think the very first thing is that don't abdicate your responsibility. Number two, don't expect too much of them.
Exactly.
Okay, Auntie, before you move,
Okay.
you said don't abdicate your responsibility. You know
Mhm.
that's a big word. Break it down, please.
Don't show to young adults what it is you that is capable of doing.
E.g., for example, let me ask like my
Like-
Igbo people.
Like as I am, or as old as I am, I still cook the soups. I don't think that a nanny would cook my soup,
all
but
the
at
soup.
least you can warm
The
food
soup.
for everybody. You
Mm.
understand? How chores are organized. It is you that
make
is
sure
the
it's organized.
that organizes chores. It's not that child. There's a certain level of cleanliness that I want. I can't abdicate it to that person to make up their mind how
Clean.
my house will be cleaned. And if I am not abdicating my responsibility, and I also know I cannot clean this whole house in one day, why do I expect that a house help will be able to clean that whole house in one day? So those are small things that I say, don't abdicate your responsibility. And it isn't your house help that is the disciplinarian.
Yeah.
You are. There are so many things that parents do that amount to abdicating responsibility. The house help is in charge of the child all day, so which can lead to child abuse and other things. Because you've just, particularly if the house help is a quiet, absorbing person, they just take in everything. You know, they can't protest. So we overlabor them. They don't go to bed on time. They are cleaning
and they
until
are
late.
the first to wake up.
So those are some of the things I say they amount to abdicating your responsibility.
So discipline, homework supervision
Like,
is not their
It's not
responsibility.
their
It's your
responsibility.
responsibility.
Yeah.
If they can help you, but you
Yeah.
need to supervise
You
it.
need to supervise
Yes,
it.
it's not their
Even if they can
responsibility.
help you, let them help, but you need to check whether what they have done is correct.
Amaka, if we tell you the things that parents make households do,
No.
they make them go to school and pick the children. So the child is a lot
In
of
fact,
the
it's
time
closer
with
to the house
to
help
the house help
the
than
mother.
to you. So you have abdicated your responsibility, and you don't know the morals that these people have. You don't know what they allow and what they won't allow. Like, if it's you hearing your child's language, you can quickly correct it.
Yeah.
This nanny does not have the grit to be able to discipline your child the way you would. or to be able to balance love and firmness at the same time. So those are the things that made me say, don't abdicate your responsibility. If they start cooking for your husband,
Ah.
Oh.
don't blame us. Don't blame us.
Yeah.
My husband won't even eat.
Yeah.
He won't even
Don't
eat if
blame
house
us.
help bring. Never. He
Then
won't.
the house helps go to the market, they
They
do
go
the
to
shopping.
the market, they do for what now?
It's too
is
much
she
for
the
a child.
wife? Is she the wife?
It's too much
She's
for a
not
child.
the wife. We're saying that's why they are helps. They are not the wives in the
They are
house.
not the mothers.
They are not the mothers in the house. They are help, which means that okay, this thing I want to carry it is too heavy. Please help me to carry it.
So you add
now
your hand, not
you
that
add
they
your
will give
hand,
you
not
everything.
that you now leave everything for her and fold your hand and she's carrying everything. And then when she falls down or breaks it, you now start shouting. She's wicked. You
Everybody will
created
break your things,
wickedness.
shall.
No,
and that is
that's
what-
not what
that
I'm
was
saying.
ex-
And that's
Extend
what
grace.
That's not
that's
the
what
one-
she was saying. Extend grace, because
That's
surely
not
they'll
what
break your
I'm even
things.
saying. I'm just using the carrying of thing, as an example. It's not necessarily plate and other, That's what I'm saying. You have to be tolerant, with them. The fruit of the spirit does not only play with your children and Christian brethren. It plays with your
Your
health
house
too.
help. And that's a strong place to. And as you said, they will break your things.
They'll break
House
your
helps
things.
will break your things. The same way your children also break
We
your
break
things.
your things.
And you have never killed any of your children
And
for
even
breaking
you
things.
will break your things.
Oh.
You know there was a time, this is just a joke. There was a time, anytime things break, my husband will say, you people, I will start removing it from your school fees. When you break things, he will so one day he was using a cup and the cup broke. My son said, now we will remove it from daddy's salary. So
Yeah.
we are all prone to these things. And and like I said, if it becomes a habit, then we should deal with the habit, so
Okay.
that we can all move on. We should deal with the habit. But if it is just this regular
Childishness or regular
things that happen, we should tolerate it. That's
Okay.
why they are helps.
Okay, let's talk about discipline. Because we've talked about the jobs they do. In other words, they are to help us, but doesn't mean we should abdicate our responsibilities. So help is help. You assign tasks, but don't expect them to be like you. They are not the mother of the children. They are not the wife of the husband. I hope we're hearing they're not the wife of the husband. So don't expect them to be mothers or be wives. They are just helps. So you give them the chores they're supposed to do. Make sure it is done, because you have to supervise.
Supervise it,
You
yeah.
can't give and then turn away and expect that your house will be running clockwork, no problems and all that without you, being part of it. No, it won't work that way. And also don't give opportunity or give a scenario or create a scenario where your children now become closer to the house help than
Than
you.
you are.
That's so
You
wrong.
have abdicated
Yeah,
your
yeah,
responsibility.
that's so wrong. So please, don't allow that kind of situation. Even sometimes I've seen houses too where husbands come and is the house help they're asking, where is my food? Where is this?
Yeah.
Where is that? What is that? That means you have abdicated your responsibility. Okay, now discipline. Your house help does something wrong. I think you've alluded to some of it, that we should extend grace, and we shouldn't expect them to be different from normal human beings. So the kind of mistakes human beings make, even yourself, they would make it. Okay, they break your rules. What do you do?
I'm a very firm disciplinarian. So, like, I have always equated the younger helpers to the level of my children. But I've had 2 adult house helps that they were hard to deal with. So that requires a lot of talking, debriefing, using the word of God, and being extra firm with boundaries, and say, you absolutely cannot cross this boundary.
If they cross, what will you do?
I get to the point where I say, Kai, I think we are going to part ways. Because the last one I imagine, I didn't have to ever beat her. I didn't beat her. But me, she was rebellious, very, very self-sufficient. Did I say that? The people who are their own boss in your own house. And we can't have 2 bosses.
Yeah.
So you would have to really, really talk. And then share the gospel, because I realize that sometimes when people are very hard, it's because they do not know the Christ the way we know the Christ. Because if a nanny truly knows Christ, then she won't be proud, and she won't be obstinate, and her rebellion will be at a par. But unfortunately for this particular person, I couldn't return the person, because the father had given her to us as a trust. And I imagined that, oh, what would I do? Would I have thrown away my own child too? But man, we butted heads a lot, and it meant that I was more intentional in the way I gave instructions and didn't give liberty. I said, this is what I want done. I don't want you to take your discretion and exercise your own.
So you made what you wanted clear.
Very
no
clear.
ambiguity.
Very clear.
But when they break the rules, what do you do? Okay, for the younger ones.
Younger ones, the same way I discipline the younger children, you will get it.
Yeah.
But the older people, you learn to take away their privileges. Take away what is important for them. What is really, really important to this person. Deprive them of it for a while.
That means you should have studied the person
Yeah.
to know what is important to them. Okay, IB.
The thing is, this is my house, and I make the rules here. You break my rules, there are
Consequences.
consequences. Just like if my children break my rules, there are consequences. But what I will not do is to cause injury or to be outrightly wicked, or torture a help just because a help break a rule. We've had stories of helpers who are locked up in a room for 2-3 days without food.
Denied food.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've had
We do
stories
it.
of
They deny them food.
helps who the woman will introduce pepper to their vagina because they want to train them. That is not discipline. That is outright wickedness. I do not want to discipline by causing
you want
injury.
to beat the child till you have
Or
marks
marks
all
all
over
over.
the body.
You use
Oh,
use
somebody is calling.
The way the ladies in the house are
Can't hear
telling
you.
us
we can't hear.
how to discipline and how to take care of these children or our houses. I appreciate them very greatly.
Thank you.
Because that is what my wife has also been doing with the children we have been entrusted to have around us.
Praise God.
So I appreciate, because times I always caution my wife when she's doing what people are saying she should do. But what I'm hearing from you, I just want to just give her kudos on what she's doing and appreciate it. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
encouraging us to turn at you. Because when you are training the children now, it is now that they have they have the power. So when you train them where in the Bible, in the First John, they say you are going to be appreciated. They will thank them because they will hold it strong and worship the Lord even when they get older and do the right thing.
Amen.
So I appreciate you. I appreciate the program greatly.
Thank you very much.
Encouraging me to even tell my wife that what she has been. I'm sorry. I'll apologize to her sometimes. To tell her that what you are saying is right. I appreciate you greatly.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
Thank you too.
We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't want to treat a help in a way that you subject them to very dehumanizing.
What you can't do to your children, don't
your
do
children
it.
don't do
That's
it to
simple.
them. For
What
me,
you can't do to your children, don't do it to someone
I
else.
think that if, like Auntie said, you are having an issue with someone, if it is possible to send the person away, it is better to send the person away than to cause injury on the child.
So if you feel you can't cope anymore, you
send the person away.
Let's
In
part in
fact,
peace.
I know there are some house help that some persons even make the house help to help them to trade. She's a house help in the house, but at the end of the day, she goes out to help them sell things
To
and to hawk. Yes. I think that we're going too far when we do things like that. And you know, when we
That's
beat,
child labor.
when we beat a child to the point that the child cannot pull her dress, you know, the whole body is wrong. My younger brother used to say that if your house help is living with you and your children, and you are maltreating the house help, are you not thinking that this girl can cause injury to your children when you are not around one day? You know, with, you know, bitterness and vengeance, and want to do something evil to your child, or even poison your food, you know, because of the way we treat them. I know that no matter what we do, some of them will still be, you know, like, but if they are not responding positively, I think that when we are tired, we should tell them to go, instead of keeping them and dehumanizing them.
So we need to treat our
But
people.
one of the things that we must always do is see them as our mission field.
Yeah, that's another
We
thing.
must see them as our mission field.
Yeah.
So while it's possible to disengage them, like I said, like the one that I couldn't send back, I had to keep sharing the gospel. You said you are a child of God. This doesn't add up. But I also learned to also take away privileges until she would conform. You know, I would defer some. I said, okay, you want this, right? When your behavior improves, come collect it.
Okay. So I think this is a very important point, that we should see the people that live with us, our house helps, as mission field. So you must share the gospel. You must share the gospel. You can't, it is wrong that you're a Christian and a house help lives with you and you have never shared the good news with that person. That's so wrong. God has even brought the mission field to your house. So you should share the gospel and also continue in discipleship. Not just share the gospel, but continue in discipleship and continue to pray. We had said earlier, you need to bath all this in prayer. You need to pray for the person. It's even in prayer that God will reveal things to you about that child. There are some things you may not know, you will get in the place of prayer. God will show you and show you how to handle this child. And even the other things people come up with, you know, the common thing that is the house help is a witch. So you start burning her leg with fire. Doing some crazy things people do. And I wonder, so where's the power of Jesus? Me, I'm so, I know, not even just convinced, I know that I cannot be there and a witch will be operating in my presence now.
Exactly.
So what's the power of God doing? It's a witch that should be running. I can't run from witch. As a Christian, the power of God should be working in your life. If you are the one that is not afraid of a witch, then please check yourself again. Something is not correct.
I had a girl who once lived with us, and one day she told somebody in the house that they should be afraid of her, she's a witch. So they came and told me. So I called her, I say, I heard that you say you're a witch. You know that if you are a witch, you can't operate in this house. You can't do anything. So carry your witchcraft and take it to wherever
you have it.
And that was the end of the matter. So she said later, after she left my place, that she said it, she thought that we were going to be frightened. I said, frightened me. For what now? What witch is this?
Okay. They've asked us to wrap up. Somebody is, what do they say? They're looking at us with bad eyes. So we need to wrap up and go. So the message today is the issue of house helps. Pray before you get them. When you are with them, continue to pray. As we pray about every other thing. And let your light continue to shine as a child of God. The way you treat them is the way, think of the way Jesus would treat such a child in your prayer. And see that child or that person as an adult, as Auntie Madu said, as a mission field. Share the gospel, disciple, pray for them. Do not give up. God has brought somebody to you, a soul, that though a house help, but in heaven, that soul is important, as every other soul is important. So as we deal with our house helps, let's deal with them with wisdom, with the love of God, with grace. Let's extend grace to them. Okay, 30 seconds, last words. IB, Auntie, and then we wrap up.
House help are house helps. They are not the owner of the house.
Don't abdicate your responsibility as a mother, as a wife, as an auntie.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Namo, Professor Madu. Thank you for your great contribution. So please, viewers, I hope from today, if we have been doing the wrong thing, we'll start doing the right thing and start living with our house helps the way we should. So viewers, thank you so much for sitting with us throughout the program today. We're looking forward to seeing you again here at the Living Room at ECWA TV International. Same time, same place, the Living Room.
May
God
God thank the
bless you.
person who called in.
And thank you. We didn't get his name, but thank you so much for calling in. And viewers, you can still post your comments on our Facebook page. So we're looking forward to seeing you again, same place, same time next week. And let's keep living for Jesus. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Bye.
Bye.